Cupcakes.
As Master likes to say, nutcakes. Josh. So we're gonna load this up.
Cupcakes sound like awesomely delicious.
Okay. Okay, so give me a few seconds, guys, while I quickly just transition over to the game screen. I really do need a new monitor. I'm literally looking at a box at the moment. I'm literally looking at a box.
Just steal one from university. Easy.
I wish. I really wish I could
You,
do that. I really wish I
you
could
do
get
have to
rid.
say that they've got the best kit, haven't they? They just got the
Yeah,
best kit.
gaming uni. Because I'm doing a gaming course, so they have
Uh,
like all this. They have like They have this huge projector, and we have like little tables with our names on them, and glowing PCs and all this garbage.
yeah. It just has your names on them, though. You don't own them or
Oh
anything.
no, no, it just has our names, so we get put into like sections, and um, so we're kind of like imitating a real office of what you would be working in like the industry, and it's kind of fun to like hop over and look at the lead and say, "Hey, dude, we did. I'm not doing this. Yeah, yeah. Come look
I'm
over."
awesome. Do
Yeah,
this. Do
yeah.
this.
And then I come out with
Sweet.
my flop, but I'm not looking forward to my results, man. But praise be to God.
Oh
Hopefully,
shush.
hopefully,
Oh shush.
it's
Anyway,
physics. I hate
shall we get
physics.
this underway?
Yeah. Okay. So
Okay.
let's have a look. So I'm at one
Yeah. Pause
second.
5 seconds in.
Okay. So pause five
Again.
seconds.
But
So
I'm like first impressions again. Like Outer Reach is notorious for creating long, drawn-out games because of the VP placement. Like natural VP is very natural. Contested VP is very contestable,
yeah.
and like mostly the action actually revolves around the power farms and how and like the other map control, and then this creates this sort of ebb and flow effect that ends up like being I'm gonna try to push you and your turn to try to push, etc., etc. But at the same time, it also gives you a lot of time to like engineer a comeback. And like if that last game that we just looked at was anything, like, any proof was never like it really don't give up like too easily. It's this game. It's if your opponent makes one bad mistake, that can be the whole game gone. So just don't give up. Stick at it, and I'm sure that your win rate will go up at least 20%, 30%. You know,
Mm.
something like that.
Yeah, that's a good
Just
point
don't give up.
actually. That's a good point. I was playing with I was playing against Unli Matt. I can't pronounce his name. Just call him Matt. And I was the Force Command. He was Chaos Lord. And there was a point. I lost the match anyway, but there was a point where I was gonna give up really early, and that's because I basically lost my farm.
Uh-huh.
And I decided, there's no way for me to come back. And then Kevek just shouting from the background, like, this little supporters, like, keep going. And then I managed to take out two of his heritage squads, and this kind of brought me back into the game.
Hmm.
But then obviously Chaos Lord OP, and I lost. So
But like I,
like you
there have
said,
been
yeah,
games. There have been games where like I've been down a whole tax squad and the first engagement I come back and win the thing convincingly, or like I'll like lose two ASM squads and like
oh goodness.
like three apothecaries over the course of the game, but
Oh,
like
okay,
still end the
okay.
game really strongly. So yeah, okay, it's good to know genuinely what the situation is like, but at the same time, being resilient,
Yeah,
like that is a very very important characteristic of a player. Like if you're not resilient, it doesn't matter how good your technical skills are, you're going to not do very well like at top level. You're just going to give up every single time you make a mistake because you're human,
right.
right?
Yeah,
So anyway, shall we?
that's good. Very good advice. So anyway, I'm at 5 seconds, so we're gonna go up to 10. So three,
Yeah.
two, one, two, one, two, three, four, five. So I'm at 0, 0, 12, 13.
Yep.
Okay,
Same.
excellent. All right. So now out of reach is like you said, kind of a very balanced map. I say. Do you think this map favors any more races though? Any races? Riku, I suppose.
Expansive races,
Expansive races.
races with good retreat killing because of this sort of like death trap.
Yeah.
Like at this middle power, that is a death trap for retreat paths. And if you park retreat melee units in the retreat path, that's a lot of dead squads. So things like orcs, mids, Imperial Guard have a fairly good time. It's important to note Imperial Guard vehicles kind of suffer on this map, as most vehicles with like a big like footprint do.
Yeah.
So it's better to get like walkers and yeah, walkers on this map than tanks.
Okay.
Mm,
Is that
I
just
don't know,
because of
like
the tight choke points that we have here, or
yeah, I mean
it's pathing?
it's pathing. Pathing really suffers, like especially when most stuff hasn't been cleared yet. Like one little bit of pathing, then that can be a dead vehicle, right? And I mean, War Boss probably has less trouble because he can clear any stuff that he might find troublesome, but that takes time. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
um,
Just walking away.
if I were, uh, uh, if I were GHG, I would not be conceding so much like attrition. Like he needs to like he's tried to be expansive down low, but he would be better served to be like to have the high ground here. Actually, I think if he had the high ground with two shooters and a stomp, he can like get in the face of the shotgun scouts and like force them off early.
Right.
And once they're gone, like he's got a relatively easy fight.
Yeah. I mean, I was told that once the tactical marines are tied up, you've basically lost engagement. Especially if you don't have, squads that cannot. This is during like melee, so tyranids with
I mean,
warriors and things like that.
it depends. It depends because like towards the ends of engagements, I will always like start meleeing with my tax
Yeah, exactly.
because like it's I know instinctively it's around what time they're gonna transition from being like in like fighting stance to retreating. So you want them to be already meleeing when they're starting their retreat, right?
Yeah.
Uh, okay,
I mean, in this situation, obviously the attacks have been forced off because he hasn't. I didn't even check, but those shooters have been extremely low. But like I said,
Dean easily has won this engagement though because he just dropped 4 shooting models to force a retreat that has not bled at all, and
yeah,
this is why you need some kind of line breaker, right? You need like a war boss to start tying stuff up. If the war boss ties up just the tactical, suddenly that's a lot less bleed that the space marine can inflict on you, and
yeah.
you've got a much easier engagement.
Um, let's have a look at something. The Big Bang Hammer.
Hmm.
It's a really scary and dangerous piece of war gear. Can you explain? Because I don't really know much about it. I just know that it kills my stuff really, really quickly. Can you explain
Okay,
what kind of damage it does and what races it's really effective against?
it's it used to be power melee in retail, but in mod it's now does just melee damage. It does very sizable melee damage, not to be laughed at, but its real strength lies in the fact that on the hit it procs a a stacking buff, which increases allied units' speed and damage by a small amount. But because it's stacking, it just causes an engagement. Like, I mean, most people what they have is like this sort of like a very basic understanding of like how fights will look like when they happen. But you need to do better. You need to be like, I need to take into account like what will happen if I allow this stacking buff to accrue. And because of the speed and damage buff, it makes it incredibly dangerous to engage a war boss which is free to buff their units in melee, because melee units will suddenly overwhelm everything that Space Marines have got. Okay, let's go back to the game. Lean's problem here was, I think, I think his problem was that he delayed his assault marines,
Submarines, quite a bit.
and like this is what has completely justified Death's choice of going 2 shooters, because well, if there are no assault marines out, there is nothing that these shotgun scouts and tacks can really do. I mean, okay, like
At this
that
point,
warboss should be in there way sooner. That warboss should be in there way sooner, because like that second shooter now has to retreat. But
you
like,
see, what's that called? Use your choppers on the sluggers. Probably going to do huge amounts of damage to those. Oh, and those scouts go down. The submarines lose a model. Scouts are down to 2 models. Sergeant extremely low, 14 HP. Probably needs to focus fire the scouts, so it's not too.
definitely. But this is the mistake that Death made, was that like it's very very difficult to shoot stuff when it's in heavy cover. That's the point of the game.
Yeah.
But notice that whereas like commanders and single unit entities can do can continue to melee while they're in cover, that happens reasonably often. And if it doesn't happen with you, you really should try to make that happen, because it's almost impossible to root you out of cover. But what like Death should have done was send the war boss to melee the scouts. I know that's really counterintuitive, but when he melees them, they either have to kite or start meleeing him, and that not it reduces their DPS. Like, it also makes them supremely vulnerable to the focus fire of the shooters, which will then, by its nature, like make the sluggers with their choppers almost impossible to defeat in melee. Okay, that was really unfortunate by Lean. Like,
unable to get the war boss at the last minute.
Yeah. Oh, not even that. Like, throw that retreat grenade. Like, if you notice before, like, there are some railings on that bottom side. Like, the retreat path almost always goes on the inside of the rails. So it's try to throw your grenade inside the rails.
Okay.
Like, it's especially if they're coming from the north hand side. It's almost always on that side.
So it's this little part here.
And yeah, like,
I mean,
Weird Boy out straight away. I don't know how. Like,
much of a
if
good
he
idea.
knows that he's gonna be fast tech.
Yeah. Is that a good idea?
Weird Boy is great against everything, but it would be more accurate to buy a Death Dread.
To buy a Death Dread, exactly. That puts huge amounts of pressure.
Get his burners a bits, and then just proceed to like sit on that farm and not let him get any power. Right. Okay. Here comes the gen farm. Like, right. If GHG had waited another half a minute and got a Death Dread now, what can Lean do?
Absolutely nothing. He's not
Absolutely
tier 2.
nothing.
And he knows that he's taking out the power.
In fact,
okay,
if I was Death, I wouldn't even cap. I would go round the VP, like round the natural VP, fuck everything else, scout, pardon the French, scout the power farm and start destroying it. Conversely, if I was Lean and I saw him do that, I wouldn't even bother trying to defend, because there's no hope. I would get a flamer and counter bash.
Right.
But like right now, okay, look at it this way. Is it better to have the same zero power income versus zero power income if you're T2 against T1, or is it better to have full power income versus full power income? Like, better.
The first choice. Just because you know you're ahead, and your enemy obviously still has to. Once he goes to tier 2, he'll obviously have no power during that point. While you're obviously ahead, and you can. You know, that's another. That's another 300 rec that he has to spend, which he could be using and reinforcing on his units that he's obviously taken on power generators, which he just can't afford, and that just puts him further behind.
Whereas now Lean is going T2 comfortably, and he might, like, right now I would force down another gen farm, but Lean actually has a shot, right? Because I mean, it's the classic thing about our reaches. He has the time to come back, and if he had gone straight for the generators, like, Lean would be stuck in tier 2 for like T1 for another minute or two, you know?
Yeah, but this time he's really got
rebuy the generators again.
He's got 50
and
power.
Then he would have to.
He's got 50 power now that he can use for tier 2, maybe getting a Razorback, and Australian obviously still doesn't have really enough the right units, I could say. I mean, the Weird Boy does quite a bit of damage actually on vehicles with his what's that ability called? Just a normal AoE effect ability that he has, kind of normal shot that he does, that glowing ball. But
notice that the Australian's approach was poor. He was going for the gen farm again, but like this time he went to the south. And the reason why I recommended it last time was because Lean was in the north.
Yeah.
But this time was in the south, which means that he's got an easy attack into his flank as he's marching up north. This if your opponent is south, I would try to march through the north and go in through the natural, natural wreck point, and down and attack the farm so that he hasn't got an easy flank. If anything, your flank is protected very well by the high ground, right? And if he tries to go for the pincer, that spends so much time that you've already taken down 2 generators or something like that. okay, this is in my opinion, it's a risky choice. Go T3. Like
Mm,
he could get a little bit more, like a little bit more but you know, it's I guess it's standard orc meta. Get to T3 as quickly as possible.
that's where the main units are. And I mean,
Yeah.
he's got quite a bit of resources. He's got 90 power, which means he could probably bring out. But I mean, now that he's seen that Assault Marine Sergeant with the power sword, he knows that his enemy's tier 2. He's seen the Razorback mm,
Um.
thrown in there with the nice throw into the enemy, but obviously,
Okay, he needs to be more careful about his weird boy shooting up his own sluggers.
yeah,
Like, as much as you can, you should be using attack round and attacking kind of the rear armor, because not only can you hit the rear armor, it means that the Razorback will get hit even if they kite.
okay. I mean, those
It also
probably
means it will hit
sluggers need to get better.
your own melee troops. So.
Yeah, so he's done it again, like you said, he's gone for the bottom. That's a good point actually. I never actually realised I did that, but I always did attack from this direction just because I know that there's no sight range. The enemy has to come around this huge building just to kind of counter me.
That goes down.
But so
Well,
generally needs to
what
get out, but no, he doesn't.
what Australian is doing very well is he's keeping up the pressure. He's not very passive, and I'm really liking this because this sort of mistake, like losing your Razorback in that situation, that only happens when you're under pressure. Okay, I really dislike dropping the extra gen farm.
Right at the bottom,
Really,
like you said,
I
because
really dislike that.
it's just more
Right,
things to babysit and things he could spend on. He could spend on another squad or maybe another upgrade. He probably didn't need it.
but
Maybe one would have been fine, but
okay, well, in 5 minutes, like I'll check again at 18 minutes, and we'll look at the resources. And I assure you, the Australian is going to have no wreck and too much power, and you know this wreck could have been put back into getting a looted tank on top of it, and like spending it on the wreck for the knobs, and like getting this map control back. And you know what? You know why it's also really bad? If he bashes Lean's natural, Lean can suddenly just go, I'm gonna take your farm and I'm gonna co-op that and I'm gonna have power.
right.
Right? It's just why give yourself like more problems? Like his position was so solid. All he needed to do was get the map control back with a solid push, and Lean's got almost no chance, even though
He's managed to
Commander
force
goes
him off.
down.
Yeah, he's forced him
Another
off.
small win.
But
Dreadnought.
against Knobs, is that a good
Desperate
choice?
choice.
I
Desperate choice. It can work. It can work, but it's desperate. Very desperate.
probably a good upgrade for him to get on his command will probably be a plasma gun with the overshot and Mark Target. Was Mark Target tier 3 or was that tier 2?
Tier 2.
Tier 2, so I mean,
Six armor.
that'd be really helpful.
Death needs to put more emphasis on map control. Right, like Lean has got currently 315 rec income. That's so much.
Yeah, exactly. So we've looked at, and like you
Still,
said,
still no capping from like except for the VP. That's like this is really giving me a way back into this game.
yeah. I mean, Lean could probably, with that scout squad, he could probably cap this power back. He knows that there's no node on it.
He's probably gonna blow frenzy here. I think.
So where's the Dreadnought? The Dreadnought's just not involved, idle, just sitting at the base, not doing anything. Needs to be probably in that gauge helping. There's no hammers on these. I'm not so yeah. There's a frenzy.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't really mind this so badly because now Knobs have blown this frenzy, and that's 75 red every single time. And what the orc really wants is to use the frenzy on the Dreadnought, and now he hasn't got it. Now the Dreadnought has actually got a bit of a free reign until that comes back off cooldown.
How long is the cooldown on the frenzy?
It's over 30 seconds, I think. Yeah, look how much work that Dreadnought is doing now.
He's turned
Look at
around. Probably needs to turn around and.
It should be attacking the knobs, definitely. Oh god, that's so much damage.
Okay. He needs to turn around and focus the hero, and obviously, so that means that this scout squad or the tech marine that could have been, capping the map or doing some damage to these super boys up here has to repair that, walker, obviously. Scouts.
I think it's Death.
Go on, sorry, go ahead.
Death should really be just focusing, because this is the only shot that Lean has right now. Is this like residual map control he has? He's got all the rec points on this map, and as I said, look what he's doing with this Tech Marine now.
Yeah, just gonna cap that point.
Cap that point. Get the map control. Oh, and now he's feeding the Dreadnought with the Sluggers. Okay. This is what I want to emphasize. Like dancing, even though I recommended it as a technique to get around walkers if you get out tech, it's also what you can be. Like he could be dancing with the shooters. He could be sending the shooters one up to the northeast, northeast and southeast. Like the Dreadnought is only one unit and cannot chase two squads effectively.
Split in half. But yeah, I understand what you mean. So, I mean, here's the Tech Marine at the bottom.
Tech Marine's in trouble.
Oh, look at that damage! Wow. Wow. Huge. That's 30%.
But here, like,
30%.
you know, this is
more damage
another
on
sad
retreat.
thing, though. This is another sad part of it. Like, here, he thinks he's got this liability that he needs to protect. And what has he sent to protect it? His knobs and his war boss. Down the south side of the map, where they're most far removed from the rest of the fight. And they, right now, where should you keep your strongest troops? You generally want to keep them centralized, where they can be more active. They can go anywhere on the map at a short moment's notice to influence it. As a result, you want to put your mobile units on your flanks. So that, look, he's just destroying that generator. He's just like, what was it worth that 425 rec and the extra node again, so 600 rec to get up this farm. So he's got 120 rec and 265 power. Oh, and no map control because he's too busy getting this farm back and fighting.
So as you can see, guys, there's been a lot of kind of just subtle mistakes that Def has made that has kept Lean in the game. Then usually he probably would have been over. And now, okay, so this Dreadnought needs to get out.
Lean still has F2. Lean still has F2. That's a dead shoot. He should be using F2 here.
He's not using it. I mean, what these are submarine scouts? I don't believe their abilities are not about.
It's important. Like they should be fighting. They should be fighting, but like I think Lean could have been okay if he had used F2 and like fought it. But again, have you noticed? Australian has no rec income. He's got 0 rec points.
Yeah, just like you
and
said.
he's fighting for the power, and he's got idle, and he's just going after this Tech Marine. Maybe because he thinks he's won, but I think
that was a waste.
I think that Lean has got a slight advantage here. I think Lean has got a slight advantage here because nice attempt at grenade. Another model's gonna go down. Another model's gonna go down. Oh. Anyway, I think Lee's got a slight advantage here because right now he's got to reinforce these knobs. He's not gonna have any rack, and he's only got a shooter and maybe a slugger, which you'd arguably say aren't the core fighting units right now. That means that they are the natural cappers. Oh, the weird boy goes down. Yep. GG. Space Marines have a big advantage. But yeah, as I was saying, like when you've got like 0 map control. Look, he is committed to capping these VPs now. That means he's committed to conceding again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 150 rec income per minute more every single second that he does not have these VPs and cannot recapture some of these rec points. It's just like Lean can go T3 and drop a Vendread soon. This is ugly.
This is really ugly. I mean, despite the fact that he's trying to force his enemy to stay in the base, like you said, he hasn't got the resources. I mean, he's just capping the victory points. But
even if Lean is forced to stay in the base, what have you gained?
Yeah.
Because you only gain anything from like having base lock your opponent. If your opponent doesn't have his gen farm, doesn't have like his doesn't have map control, like Lean has all the map control. Like Lean, if he should really build a gen farm or like steal this one. Like now he's stealing it, but apart from that, he's got all the play. He's got all the process.
Look at his rec. He's got so much resources he can spend. Probably get another tactical squad or something. Just to. I mean, once at this point, if Australian basically sees any more squads, he's going to be a bit more demoralised, despite the fact that he hasn't got the resources he needs.
Well,
And
now this is classic. Like he like I don't know why, but Australian is now in the mode of like I'm just gonna hold these two VPs. I'm gonna try to win from here. Like we talked about idle units. Like okay, that shooter down there is technically not idle because it's defending like the VP. But is it really defending the VP? Like it is. Okay, these sluggers are in big trouble.
yeah,
But is Lean really going to be moving his army in such a way that like one shooter is going to stop him from like an okay, he's like a
escape.
oh so lucky.
Unfortunate path.
But
These
and
scouts.
Lean lost the scout, but it doesn't really matter. Like, does Lean not have 1,350 rack?
Yeah, they can spy back another squad instantly. I mean, second shooter's coming out. I mean, he needs something
Okay, again,
that's going to pressurize this
here,
squad what he's really got.
here again to emphasize how poor the extra generators were. Like, you've come this far and you've got how much 480 power in the bank, and you just buy another shooter. Ouch.
Yeah,
Like it would have been more efficient to not buy that gen farm and buy another shooter then than it is to like buy a replacement shooter now. Like it's that's how painful this reality is. Like and you know when knobs really aren't that good. It's when you don't have map control, when you're committed to feeling like I need to cap with these knobs.
and despite the dreadnought might. No, it's not going to go down. Good shotgun blast from the
Yeah.
scouts, knocking back.
See, this is how he would take the engagement last time, but he panicked a little bit and his dreadnought got caught out. And
Yeah,
this is also why I really like getting Bionics on Tech Marine.
just to deal with that, just so he can pressure. And usually, I've watched Lean play. Usually, he does get that for his Tech Marine. It would be a really good choice to
Scouts go
get.
down.
Oh, scouts go down. It would be a really good choice to get.
This is really the crux point of the game. Like, okay, he needs to save that dread. He needs to save that dread. But here's really the crux point for me in this game. Like, and you know what that is?
The fact that he's taking map control back. Did you say
Nope.
that? Nope.
It's Orks have 131 red,
Right.
and that means he's only got one frenzy left.
I see.
So that is the point when Nobs starts tailing off. If they can't earn the red back by killing stuff, they're not going to be that powerful anymore, which indirectly makes these squads more powerful. But at the same time, here comes the loot attack finally, with 470 power to spare, and it's okay. Like he's still okay. Like Lean just really needs to like bear in mind that like this war boss and these knobs do so much damage in melee. He cannot just keep bleeding XP to them because that's what's actually hurt him
That's
now.
him
Like
quite a lot.
level 2 assault marines against level 6 war boss with claw. That's pain incarnate. But if I were him, I would probably be trying to drop like a Vendread behind a looted tank, get ML to try to make a play, and then you've got double dreadnoughts against knobs, and you're okay. You're okay, you know.
Yeah.
But right now he should not be bleeding any more XP. Like if that looted tank gets leveled, like you might as well cry.
I think this is in a really bad position. I think from this position, what can Lean really do? I mean, he's got so much red. I mean, wreck. He's got quite a bit of red.
You know, if I were him, like I mean, I think the reason he didn't make this comeback was because he's had so much wreck, and you know what? He had his natural like power for a while. He just didn't build a node. He just didn't build power. He just didn't manage to take this bottom power back for ages. If he had achieved that, he would have had all the power he needed, and he would have got a Vendread out like 5, 6, 7 minutes ago. Now he's putting the Vendread down there, and it's not behind. Always put it behind. Always put it behind. So his natural kiting position is gonna get like a drop pod dropped in it. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Drop pod goes down anyway, and
Okay, now this is definitely like a one game for Orks, but Like,
It's unfortunate.
I don't know, like, yeah, it is
It's
unfortunate, but at the
unfortunate,
same
but
time, like,
yeah,
this game was completely in Bean's reach. Like, he had all the map control, and if he had put down generators fast enough, would have been an easy Space Marine T3. He wasn't lacking the red, like, at that point. He
yeah,
had dropped that, he would have gotten quite a bit of red. Like, I mean, look at how the fight panned out. Like, constantly Australian is leaving squads to defending. I guess because he doesn't want to micro them, and he probably can't micro them as effectively as he wants, which is fine. But at the same time, Lean could have won this if Lean had gotten the power.
alright. I mean, yeah, from this